Hello friends, welcome to the Certified in the Risk and Information System Control. Next part, that is part 5, domain 3 of the risk response and reporting. Friends, in this throughout the discussion we'll delve into the various changeover methodologies, right? Each designed to address the specific organization need and circumstances. That is the parallel changeover, right? Similarly, we'll go ahead about discuss about the phase changeover. On the other hand, which involve introduces modifications gradually, right? Providing an incremental approach, and this aids in the risk mitigation and adaptability. Next will be the abrupt changeover. As the name suggests, entails an immediate switch from old to the new system, right? Which offering swiftness but requiring careful planning to manage and potential disruption, right? Furthermore, we'll delve into the changes related to the migration understanding, the intricacies involved in transferring data, right? Processes and functionalities. Next, as we progress, we'll explore the fallback procedures, right? An essential component of changeover planning. After that, post-implementation review, which is another critical aspect of our discussion. And to wrap up our exploration, we'll delve into the continuous documentation, emphasizing the importance of meticulous record keeping in the changeover process, right? So friends, let's embark this journey together as we'll delve into the world of Crisc and the art of effective changeover management, right? So friends, the first topic is about the effective control implementation in the testing environment. Friends, control implementation is a crucial process, right? That requires testing in a separate environment before being fully implemented. So in this presentation, we'll explore the best practices for testing and implementing controls in a realistic control, right? In a realistic context, including the coordination, rigor, and evaluation required for successful implementation, right? So friends, we'll also discuss some common changeover methods and the importance of considering fallback scenarios, right? So the first, that is the testing control in a separate environment, right? In this, friends, the first is the establishing test environment. So friends, what we know that before making establishing test environment, before making changes to actual system, right, like production environment, it is important to test those changes in a separate environment that closely resembles the real one, right? So just taking an example, like imagine if you want to update the software of your company, right, uses for customer orders. So instead of doing it directly in the live system, you first create a duplicate environment to test the changes. So this helps to ensure that the updates won't cause issues when applied to the actual system, right? So it states that the test environment should mimic the production environment, right, to the greatest extent possible, including virtualization and container technology. The friends, using this technology, it is a type of technology to create a virtual copy of production environment, right, for testing purposes. So for example, in the context of software update, virtualization allow you to create a fake environment that behave like the real one, right? It's like rehearsing a play before actual performance, right? So you can identify and fix potential issues before they impact the live system, right? Coming to the next is the changeover condition. Friends, when you are ready to apply the changes to the live system, it should be done in a well organized way. So this involves communicating with the relevant people, avoiding disruption, and having a plan in case something goes wrong. Just for example, like going back to the software update, the last previous example. So when it's time to implement the changes in the live system, you inform everyone involved. Make sure that the system outage, right, if any, is communicated and coordinated the process carefully. So this ensures that the update doesn't disrupt the important business function, right? Similarly, it states that the changeover process should be coordinated through a formal change management, including communication of any out-system outages to stakeholders. Deep conflict change implementation. Friends, this means that making sure that the implementing changes won't interfere the critical business function, right? Just for example, like if your company relies heavily on a specific system for a daily operations, the changeover should be planned in a way that does not disrupt these operations, right? It's about avoiding conflict or clashes that could impact the business, right? So, in simple terms, these steps are being about being cautious and organized when making changes to important system. So, by testing in a safe environment, coordinating changes carefully, and involving a change management process, you reduce the risk of problem and ensure a smooth transition without disrupting essential business activities. Right? Moving next. Next is about the implementation of administrative and the physical control. That is a texting control. So friends, in the administrative and physical control, it states that the putting in place the rules and measures that are not solely reliant on technology. This include organization policies and the physical security measures. Right? So imagine your company decides to restrict access to certain rooms where sensitive information is stored. So this involves creating a policy, right? Like such as administrative control policy and installing locks on the door, that is physical control, right? So before enforcing these measures, they should be carefully planned, tested and evaluated, right? Next is about the access permission and segregation of duties. Friends, it states that managing who has the access to what information or system and ensuring that no one person has too much control to prevent the potential misuse, right? So typically it states that changes of the policy should be assessed for operational impact before becoming mandatory, right? As we have discussed. So the friends, the changes in the policy or the procedure, it means that before making any rules or modifying existing ones, right, it is important to evaluate how these changes might impact the day-to-day activity, right? So if a company decides to update its policy on data privacy, it should be tested in a draft format first. This involves checking how the new policy affects the different team or department to ensure that it does not disrupt the regular workflow, right? So in simpler terms, these point emphasizes that the implementation of controls goes beyond just using technology. Administrative control like policies and physical control like lock on the doors are equally important. So friends, when making changes whether to policies or technical control, it is crucial to assess the potential impact on daily operation before making them mandatory, right? So this ensures that security measures are effective without causing unnecessary disruption. Okay, moving next. Next we'll discuss about the change go live techniques, changeover, right? So friends, as the name suggests, that is changeover go live technique. When you are ready to put changes into effect after testing and planning, so there are different methods for doing it, right? So we'll discuss in the further upcoming slides, like the different methods such as parallel, phased and abrupt, right? So it states that additionally every changeover should account for possibility of a fallback scenario. So fallback scenario, it states that recognizing that thing might not go as planned, so there should be a plan to go back to the previous state if needed. Example, if a new website encounters unexpected issues after launch, having a rollback plan means you can quickly revert to the old website, right? Until the problems are resolved. Understood? And the next thing, what happens, this concept apply equally to the basic control within complex system as to changes made at the system level, right? So these principles apply whether you are making small changes to the specific control or larger changes at the entire system level. Okay. So when you are updating a single software feature like basic control or implementing a completely new software system like system level changes, the method of changeover and the importance of having a fallback plan remain the same, right? So in simple terms, you can say that when you are ready to make changes like launching a new website or updating software, So there are different ways to do it, right? Running both the old and the new version together, rolling out the changes gradually, or making a sudden switch. So regardless of the method, it is crucial to have a backup plan in case things go wrong, right? So these principles are applicable whether you are tweaking small details or making big changes to the entire system, right? Moving next. Next, we will discuss about the understanding the parallel changeover in the system implementation. So friends, what happens in today we'll delve into the concept of parallel changeover in the system implementation. So this method involves the simultaneous operation of both the old and the new system, offering various benefits and the challenges. So we'll also explore the advantages and disadvantages and the key considerations, right, associated with the parallel changeover. Let's move on. First, we will discuss about the parallel changeover explained, that is operational simultaneity. First, benefits of the parallel changeover. Friends, parallel changeover involves running both the old and the new system simultaneously for a period, right? The different words such as thorough testing. Parallel changeover allows thorough testing. What does the thorough testing? Thorough testing, that you get a chance to thoroughly test and validate the new system before completely replacing the old one, right? And validation of a new system before replacing the old one, it enables the staff to familiarize themselves with the new system and minimize the risk of a failed changeover, promoting a smooth transition. So staff can familiarize themselves with the new system gradually, reducing the chances of confusion or errors during the changeover, right? It also minimizes the risk of failed changeover, promoting a smoother transition, right? So example, that imagine you are updating a software your company uses for managing inventory. So with parallel changeover, you continue using the existing system while testing and getting used to the new one, right? So this way, if any issue arises, you can fall back to the old system without disrupting operation, right? Next, definitely if the benefits, there will be disadvantages also. So in disadvantages, we can say that while there are benefits, there are also downsides, right? First, like costly, we can say that maintaining and monitoring both the system simultaneously can be expensive, but to the need of additional resource and support. Similarly, consistent data management between the two systems is essential but can be challenging, right? So any changes or updates must be synchronized between the old and the new system, right? And similarly, running two systems may require double the licensing cost for the software, right? We'll understand with the help of an example, right? Let's understand, like continuing with the inventory management software update, what we have discussed last, that is running both the old and the new system means you need to invest in maintaining and supporting both. So any changes in the product information or inventory level must be carefully synchronized between the two systems, which can be time consuming and prone to the errors. So in simple terms, parallel changeover is like a running the old and the new system side by side for a while. It has the advantages like thorough testing and the risk reduction, but it also comes with the challenges like increased cost and the need for careful data management, right? So it is a cautious approach to ensure a smooth transition without major disruption, right? Next is the risk mitigation and the flexibility. Friends, mitigation risk means reducing like the likelihood or impact of potential problems, right? Like think over updating a software your company uses for order processing. So with parallel changeover, if the new system encounters unexpected issues, you can quickly switch back to the old system. So this minimizes the risk of operation or risk of disruption to the customer orders and the business operations, right? Similarly, flexibility is the next part, which is the ability to adapt and make changes easily, right? So it happens in context of software update. If you discover the new system is not working as expected during the parallel changeover, you have the flexibility to stop the process at any point. So this allows you to address issues before fully committing to the changes, right? So it states that to mitigate the risk and maintain flexibility, right? Parallel changeover provides the safest and the quickest means of reverting to the old system if needed, right? So the ability to stop the new system at a point where results are unsatisfactory is a crucial advantage of this approach. While virtualization, right, and can alleviate hardware burdens, is essential to weigh the cost and benefit of this method, right? So it states that virtualization is a technology that can help the run multiple systems on a single physical machine, reducing the need for additional hardware. So in the context of updating software, virtualization can make it easier to maintain both the old and the new system, right? However, it is important to carefully consider the cost and benefit of using virtualization, as it might have its own complexities and the resource requirement. So in simple terms, we can say that when you are updating the system, parallel changeover is like having a safety net, right? If things don't go well with the new system, you can quickly switch back to the old one. So this process provides a level of flexibility, right, and minimize the impact of potential problems. While technologies like virtualization can help, it's crucial to think about whether the benefit outweighs the cost for your specific situation or not, right? Next, we'll discuss about the partial parallel consideration. Friends, in the partial parallel consideration, the first is the partial parallel approach, which states that sometimes instead of running the entire old and the new system side by side, that is full parallel, you might duplicate one key functions. So this can be more cost effective approach in certain situations, right? Similarly, just take an example that imagine you are updating a software for managing the customer account. So instead of running both the old and the new system entirely, you might duplicate just the critical functions related to the account access and transactions, right? Similarly, next is about the cost justification, which means that deciding whether to use a partial parallel approach depend on comparing the cost of extended system outage with the cost of operating both systems simultaneously, right? For example, if your company is adopting a new system that significantly impact day-to-day operation, the cost of potential downtime might be high. So in such cases, it is justified to spend extra money on parallel approach to avoid business disruption, right? Next is about the limited scope consideration. Friends, limited scope consideration, like for a project with limited scope, duplicating functions in a parallel setup may be too expensive and not justified, right? Similarly, consider a small update to a company's internal communication software. So duplicating functions for such a limited scope change might not be cost effective. So in this case, it is crucial to consider the specific context of the system changes, right? In simple terms, we can say that when updating system, one can use to duplicate only key functions, that is partial parallel, instead of running the entire old and the new system together. Whether its approach is justified depend upon the complexity of the change and the cost associated with the extended downtime, right? So for major system changes in a significant impact, the system in the partial parallel processing is usually worthwhile. However, for small initiatives, it might be too costly and less justifiable also. So it is all about finding the right balance based on the specific context of the system changes, right? Let's move ahead. We'll discuss something about the key consideration of the system employment, right? The first is about the strategic planning. Friends, planning the changeover, right, strategically involve thinking ahead about the risk, operational effect, and the financial aspect, right? So it's crucial to consider the unique circumstances and complexity of the system change, right? For example, if your company is upgrading its customer relationship management system, strategic planning involves understanding how the change will impact customer interaction, employee workflow, and the company overall strategy, right? Similarly, next is about the risk management. So friends, in the risk management, actively managing the risk and having backup plan are vital when implementing changes. This ensures that the potential issues are anticipated and addressed, minimizing disruption during the transition, right? Similarly, in this just like a CRM upgrade we have discussed, in the CRM system upgrade, proactive risk management would involve identifying potential problems like data migration issues or user training challenges and developing plan to address these risks, right? Next, about the operational impact analysis. Friends, in operational impact analysis, understanding how the change will affect day-to-day operation and analyzing potential downtime is crucial. So this analysis help to decide if a parallel changeover is necessary and feasible, guiding decision making. So for the CRM upgrade, we can say that the operational impact analysis involve assessing how sales, marketing, and the customer support team will be affected during the transition, right? So this guide decisions on whether to run the old and the new system in parallel or not, right? Next is about the cost analysis. Friends, conducting a thorough analysis of cost, considering both short-term and the long-term financial implication is essential. So this help determine if a parallel changeover is financially viable and efficient as a system implementation approach, right? Just taking an example, like a cost analysis for CRM upgrade would involve calculating expenses for software license, training, and potential downtime and ongoing maintenance, right? So this information helps make informed decision on the best implementation strategy, right? So in simple terms, when implementing a new system, strategic decision making involves planning ahead, managing risk, understanding operational impact, and thoroughly analyzing cost. For example, if you are upgrading software, you need to consider how the change will affect daily operations, identify potential risk, and evaluate the associated cost to make informed decisions about the implementation approach, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the best practices and conclusion. Friends, in the best practices and conclusion, first is the implementing best practices. Friends, when using the parallel changeover in the system implication, it is crucial to follow certain best practices. So these include detailed planning, thorough risk assessment, and continuous evaluation of the transition process, right? So next is the conclusion. In the conclusion, we can say that the parallel changeover has both advantages and challenges when implementing new system, right? By carefully considering the benefit, risk, and cost, organization can make the informed decisions to optimize the transition, right? So summing up the implementation of the project management software, parallel changeover allow for testing and familiarity of the new system, but it also comes with the cost and the potential complexities, right? So in simple terms, we can say that when introducing new system using parallel changeover, it is important to plan well, assess risk, and continuously evaluate the process. So in conclusion, by carefully considering the pros and cons, organization can make smart decisions to optimize the transition while minimizing the potential issues, right? Moving next, friends, next we'll discuss about the phase changeover in the system implementation. Friends, throughout in this phase changeover, we'll delve into the challenges, benefits, and the key consideration as we have discussed about in the parallel changeover also. So let's discuss the phase changeover, right? First is the changeover overview, right? That is understanding the concept of phase changeover. First is the reducing the risk, right? In the reducing the risk, we can say that the phase changeover is about gradually replacing the part of the old system with the new ones, right? So this is done to reduce the risk by introducing changes one step at a time rather than all at a once, right? Just taking an example, like think of it like renovating a house room by room instead of demolishing the entire structure. This way it will, if there are any issues with the new component, they won't disrupt the entire system immediately, right? Next, definitely there will be challenges also. So in the challenges, we can say that the phase changeover comes with its set of challenges. This include managing resources, dealing with operational challenges, ensuring consistency in the data, extending the project life cycle, and at last we can say that handling the change management for requirement and customization at each phase, right? So just take an example, like if you're updating a customer relationship management software system, in phased challenges might include coordinating the effort of different teams, right? Maintaining consistent customer data across phases and adapting to the users changes in the user requirement, right? Next is about the testing and unexpected problem. Friends, testing can be challenging in phased changeover. Before the test environment might not perfectly mirror the real system, right? Additionally, some system initially thought suitable for the phase changeover may reveal unexpected problems, right? In simple terms, we can say that the phase changeover is like upgrading a system bit by bit to reduce the change of disruption. However, this approach comes with the challenges such as coordinating resources, we have discussed, right? Like unexpected problems that may only surface during the actual implementation. So it's a cautious strategy to ensure a smoother transition while acknowledging potential difficulties, right? Next, we'll discuss about the resource and operational challenges. Friends, when you are doing a phased changeover, managing different hardware or software setup for an old and new system can be challenging. So this requires an extra resource in terms of time, money, and expertise, right? So operational challenges comes from dealing with the two set of user guide and procedures. This can be confusing for the user, especially if there are changes in the terminology between old and new system, right? Just take an example like continuing with the email system upgrade. The operational challenges might surface when employees try to follow instructions if there are different guide for the old and the new system, right? So it could lead to confusion about how to perform the certain task, right? So we can say that during phase changeover, resource challenges arise because you have to handle different hardware or software setup, and operational challenges come from managing two set of user guide, right? So it's like dealing with two different toolkits and instruction manual during the transition, which can be confusing and sometimes require extra effort also to keep things running smoothly, right? Next, we'll discuss about the consistency of data and project lifecycle, right? In this, first point is about the data consistency. Friends, when implementing changes in the phases, right? So it can be challenging to keep the data consistent across the entire system, right? So incremental changes might introduce complexity in maintaining a uniform and an accurate data set. By taking an example, such as think of updating a customer database in a phases. So if old and new system handle data differently, ensuring a seamless transition without discrepancies in a customer information become a challenge, right? Similarly, next is the project lifecycle extension. Friends, phase changeover may lead to extend the project life cycle, right? So delay might occur if the incremental change face unexpected issues or take longer than anticipated. So this extension account for the additional time needed to complete the entire project, right? Imagine upgrading a financial software system in phases. So if issue arise during one phase or changes take longer than expected, it could delay subsequent phases, necessitating and extension of overall project timelines, right? So in simple terms, during phase changeover, two things are happening, right? That is data consistency challenge and project life cycle extension, right? So these challenges highlight the need for careful management to ensure that data remain consistent throughout the phase changes and to account for any potential delay by extending the project life cycle, right? Next is about the change management. Under the change management, the first is the requirement and customization. Friends, change management during a phase changeover involve handling adjustment, right, and customization in each phases. So this include managing factors like quantity, frequency, and operational agreement, right, to ensure that the system align with the evolving needs of the organization, right? Let's understand this thing with an example. Like consider upgrading an inventory management system in phases. So initially the system might track a certain quantity of items at a specific frequency. So as a requirement change, the system need customization to adapt, and change management ensure these modifications are smoothly integrated, right? Moving next is about the building in a considerable leeway, right? Friends, building in a considerable leeway, like it is similar to planning a road trip, right? With the flexibility to explore interesting details, right? So change management allow for adjustment and extra time, providing a leeway, right? Need to navigate unexpected bumps in the road during each phase of the implementation, right? So friends, phase implementation often require incorporating flexibility or leeway in each phase to account for unforeseen issues or changes in the project progression. So this flexibility help adapt to evolving circumstances during the implementation, right? Moving next is about the testing and implementation. Challenges in the phased implementation, right? So friends, when implementing changes in the phases, testing can be challenging because the test environment may not be perfectly mirror the real production system. So this mismatch, right, can result in unexpected differences between what is expected and what actually happens during testing, right? Just take an example, like imagine you are upgrading a customer support system in phases. So testing in a control environment might not capture all the complexities of real world interaction, right? Moving next, that is the phased implementation may introduce variability between modules, impacting data integrity or system performance. Even if modules are expected to deliver similar outputs, difference in their behavior may affect the overall reliability of the system, right? So friends, it is like practicing just take an example like a dance routine, right? In a rehearsal studio before a live performance, the control environment might not capture all the variables present during the actual show, leading to unexpected challenges during implementation, right? So these challenges emphasize the need for careful testing and consideration of potential module variation to ensure a smooth and reliable phased implementation, right? Moving next is about the complex system and change effect, right? In this, the first is the effect of a change, right? Friends, in a complex system, we know that the consequence of a change may not become apparent until the system has completed a full production cycle. Right? So this makes it crucial to anticipate and address potential impact in advance. Right? Imagine upgrading a large scale manufacturing process so that the full effect of the changes, such as shift in the production efficiency or resource utilization, may only come clear after an entire production cycle. Right? Next is about the testing consideration. Friends, anticipating impacts is vital because the full effect of change in complex system may not be fully known until the system has completed a full production cycle. So testing must consider potential long-term consequences. Right? So in simple terms, we can say that it is like changing a major ingredients, right, in a complex recipe. Like a full test, and the texture might only be apparent after the dish has gone and through the entire cooking process. That is the effect of a change, right? Under test consideration, we can say that think of it as conducting a thorough quality check for a new car model. So testing is not just about how the car performs in short drives. It is about understanding how it holds up over an extended period of regular use. Right? So these considerations highlight the need to look beyond immediate impact and take a holistic view, especially in complex systems where the full effect of change may only manifest over time or after completing a full production cycle. Right? Moving next, that is a consideration for the phase changeover. Under the consideration for the phase changeover, first we'll discuss about the important considerations of the phase changeover, that is building in a leeway. Friends, in a phase changeover, it is essential to incorporate flexibility or leeway at each phases. So this allows for adjustment to unforeseen impact or changes in the project's progression. Right? Just take an example like just we have discussed earlier, like think of it like planning a road trip with the flexibility to explore interesting details during the way. So building in a leeway means allowing extra time or resources for unexpected challenges during the each phase of the changeover. Right? Similarly, full production life cycle. In this, what happens, friends, understanding the full production life cycle is important because in complex system, the effect of change may not be fully apparent until the system has completed an entire production cycle, right? So this emphasizes the need for comprehensive testing and evaluation, right? So this consideration stresses the importance of flexibility and a holistic view when implementing changes in the phases, especially in the complex system where unforeseen impacts may arise and the full effect of change may only become apparent over time. Right? Moving next. Next is about the potential problem and solutions. First is the testing phase implementation. Friends, testing during the phase implementation can be tricky, right? Because the test environment might not perfectly reflect the real production system. So this mismatch can lead to unexpected problems that may not surface until the changes are applied to the actual system, right? Just we have discussed earlier, like think of it like rehearsing a play in a small theater. So the control environment might miss the sum of the complexities that arise when a play is performed on an actual stage, right? Next, mitigating risk. Friends, given the potential for unexpected challenges in the phase changeover, it is crucial to implement strategies to mitigate the risk. So this involves proactively identifying potential issues and developing plan to address them. Right? So friends, these approaches emphasizes the importance of being prepared for unexpected challenges in the phased implementation, both through thorough testing and proactive risk mitigation strategies. Right? Next is about the managing abrupt changeover in the business processes. Friends, in the managing abrupt changeover, key element and the risk. That is, first is about the abrupt changeover definition. Friends, abrupt changeover involves swiftly moving from the old system to the new one with the old system immediately taken offline. Right? It is like flipping a switch, right? Making the changes happen in a single instant, right? Sometimes it is considered risky also, right? Because this method is considered the riskiest among the changeover process. If there is a need to revert to the previous system, there is a potential for lost opportunities in the business processing, right? Imagine upgrading an online shopping platform using the abrupt changeover. So if issue arises with the new system, reverting to the old one might lead to the lost sales opportunities during the transition, right? Next, about the limited scope control. Friends, abrupt changeover is implemented when the rollback is relatively assured or when the impact of lost processing is minimal, right? So it is a strategy chosen when the potential impact of the risk can be confidently managed, right? So we can say that in simpler terms, abrupt changeover is like changing the channel on a TV, right? It is quick and immediate, but there is a risk of missing part of the show if you need to go back. So this approach is suitable for scenarios where the risks are manageable and the impact of temporarily stopping business operations is minimal, right? We'll discuss moving further ahead. We'll discuss about the key considerations for the changeover, right? That is, first is the documentation updates. Friends, before an abrupt changeover, it is crucial to make sure all relevant documentations such as user guide, system manual and procedural documents is updated. So this is similar to ensuring a recipe book accurately reflect the new ingredients and cooking methods before attempting a new dish, right? Similarly, next will be the staff training. We all know that the comprehensive training for the staff members is vital in this case, right? To ensure a smooth transition for a new system. Just like providing hands-on lesson for a team to become proficient with the new tool or equipment, right? So we can say, friends, it is making sure a travel guide is accurate and up to date, like when you are planning a trip, right? So when you want everyone to have a right information about the destination and any changes to their journey, right? So these key considerations highlight the importance of having accurate and updated documentation along with well executed staff training to pave the way for a successful transition during changeover, right? Next is about the migration disruption. Under the migration disruption, the first is the support capability. Friends, in abrupt changeover, it is crucial to have enough support capability and resources ready to tackle any disruption or issues that might pop up during the quick transition, right? It is like having a dedicated team available to fix any glitches in a live performance, right? Moving next is about the risk management. Friends, under the risk management, we know that the risk practitioners leading abrupt changeover must have the robust risk management strategies. This involves identifying potential issues, having plan in place for disruption, and being ready to roll back if needed, right? It is akin to having a backup plan for unexpected weather changes during an outdoor event, right? Next is about the communication plan. Friends, establishing a clear and effective communication plan is essential, right? So this plan keeps stakeholders informed through the changeover process, ensuring transparency and addressing any concern, right? It is like keeping everyone in a loop during a team project to avoid confusion, right? And next is about the testing and validation. Under the testing and validation, we can say that thorough testing and validation of the new system before the abrupt changeover are essential. So these steps help to identify and address any potential issues or discrepancies. Like it is similar to rehearsing a play multiple times before the actual performance, right? So in simple terms, we can say that it is like having a superhero team ready to solve any problems that might arise during the mission, right? Moving further ahead, we'll discuss about the rollback preparedness, right? Under the rollback preparedness, the first is about the reversion plan, right? Friends, in case reverting to the previous system become necessary, a detailed reversion plan should be in place. It is like having a map that guide you to back to a familiar route if you need to backtrack during a journey, right? Next is about the data backup and recovery. Friends, establishing comprehensive data backup and recovery mechanism, right, is crucial, right? Just like it is similar to regularly having your work on a computer so that you can retrieve and restore if it is needed, right? Friends, just take an example like by when upgrading a customer database system, robust data backup ensures that customer information can be recovered, right? In case of a rollback to a previous version, right? Next is about the continuous monitoring. Under the continuous monitoring, we can say that the ongoing monitoring of a new system, right, and proactive issue identification can help to mitigate the need for reverting to the previous system, right? It is like keeping an eye on a card performance to catch any potential issues before they become the major problem, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the best practices for abrupt changeover. Like first is about the risk assessment. Friends, conducting a thorough risk assessment to evaluate how an abrupt changeover might affect the business processes, identify potential risk and develop strategies to address them. Right? It is like analyzing the weather forecast before planning an outdoor event to prepare for unexpected changes. Right? Next is about the stakeholder engagement. Friends, engage with the key stakeholders throughout the changeover process, right? Gather feedback, address concern, and ensure everyone is aligned with the business objective, right? It's like involving team members in your decision making to ensure everyone is on the same page, right? So, friends, these best practices emphasize the importance of understanding the potential risk and involve key stakeholders in the decision making process to ensure a successful and a well managed abrupt changeover, right? Next, we'll go ahead some case studies of the successful abrupt changeovers, right? First is about the, let's understand about this any company's name as company A. So friends, company A successfully implement an abrupt changeover strategy for customer relationship management system, minimizing disruption and realizing improved efficiency. So friends, company A successfully implemented an abrupt changeover for its CRM system, right? Customer relationship management system. So this approach minimized the disruption and led the improved efficiency in managing customer relationship, right? Just take an example like imagine upgrading a contact list management tool, right? So the abrupt changeover ensures a quick transition to a new system, improving how customer information was handled, right? Let's understand that about the next company, company B. Friends, company B used the robust support capabilities, right, and proactive risk management for an abrupt changeover in the financial reporting system, right? So this result was seamless transition with the minimal impact on operation, right? Similarly, about the company C, that is inventory management system. Friends, company C adopted an abrupt changeover for its inventory management system, emphasizing on a documentation updates and comprehensive staff training ensured a successful transition, right? Such as upgrading inventory tracking software, thorough documentation and staff training made the abrupt changeover smooth and preventing disruption in the managing stock, right? Similarly, about the last that is company D. Friends, company D implemented an abrupt changeover for its internal communication platform, right? that is continuous monitoring and effective rollback preparedness, were highlighted to mitigate the potential disruption, right? Just take an example, like imagine upgrading team communication tool, right? So continuous monitoring and a well-prepared rollback plan ensured a smooth transition even if unexpected issue arose, right? Friends, these case studies highlight the real-world examples where these companies successfully navigated abrupt changeover by employing effective strategies and the best practices, right? Friends, next we'll discuss about the changes related to the data migration, right? Friends, under the challenges related to friends moving from one system, right, to another or making significant changes to an existing system can be daunting, right? So the big concern is the potential risk to the data integrity and availability, right? Sometimes risk practitioner play a crucial role in assessing the data migration process, right? So it is similar to inspecting a room before arranging or identify the fragile item and plan for a safe move, right? So in this we can say that developing recovery, right, procedure is essential. It is like having a backup plan to your room setup. If something goes wrong during the rearrangement, there is a way of getting things back, right? So in simple terms, challenges of the data migration are like rearranging a room, right? It's a big task. So there is a need to carefully plan and execute the process to ensure everything stays in its place. Friends, risk practitioners act as a guide, helping to navigate potential pitfalls and providing the solutions to keep the transition smooth and secure. Right? Moving next we'll discuss about the consideration for data migration. That is, first about the completeness of the data conversion. Friends, verify a total number of records from the source data appear in the new database without loss, except for intentional removals, right? We can say that it is like ensuring that all your books are moved when shifting houses. Nothing is missing and intentional removal are documented. So for risk practitioner, this means that confirming that each piece of data is successfully migrated without any loss or degradation, right? Moving next is about the data integrity. Friends, ensured data integrity, it means that ensuring that the data is not manually or mechanically or electronically altered, except as strictly required by a conversion process, right? Just take an example, like think of it as making sure the content of your book remain unchanged during the uh, during the move, right? No pages were torn or nothing has been added. So for risk practitioner, this involves identifying and preventing errors like transposition, transcription or substitution or overwriting of records and ensuring the safe transfer of the specific data. Right? Moving next we'll discuss about the consideration for data migration. Right? Under this consideration, the first is the storage and security of data under conversion. Friends, before conversion, backup of the data and implement control to protect it during storage or transit, right? Such as unauthorized copy could lead to misuse, abuse or theft, right? Next is about the data consistency. Under the data consistency, it means that to verify that the same field or record assessed by a new applications remain consistent, right, with the original application. So this consistency is vital during repeat testing and the post migration processes, right? Just think an example, like think of it as ensuring the page in your book stay in the same order during the move. So the for risk practitioner, this involves confirming that the data maintains its integrity and structure when assessed by different applications, right? Next is about the business continuity. Under the business continuity, it states that to ensure the application support added or appended records, crucial for maintaining seamless business continuity post migration, right? It is like making sure your favorite cafe can accommodate new customers after relocating, right? So in simple terms, we can say that similar to under the storage and security of data, we have understood that similar to protecting your belongings during a move, back up the data and implement control to prevent unauthorized access, ensure data security, right? And under data consistency, we have understood that like ensuring your books remain organized during relocation to verify that the data consistency is maintained when accessed by different applications, right? And in business continuity, we can say that just as you have added your own favorite cafe to handle more customers after moving, ensure the systems support the additional records for seamless business continuity post migration, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the data migration best practices, ensuring data integrity and availability. The first is the thorough testing. Friends, conducting thorough testing of the data migration process to identify potential issues and ensure successful migration without compromising data integrity or availability. Just like running a trial move before the actual relocation. Friends, thorough testing ensures that the process works smoothly and that none of your belongings get damaged or lost during the move, right? Next is about the disaster recovery plan. Friends, under the disaster recovery plan, we can say like to develop a test and a comprehensive disaster recovery plan to recover data to its pre-conversion state, acting as insurance against unexpected negative outcomes during migration, right? Similarly, we'll understand this thing with an example. Like think of it as having insurance coverage of your valuable during a move. So a disaster recovery plan ensures that in case of unexpected issues, you can recover your data to its original state, right? Next is about the documentation and training. Friends, to provide a proper documentation and training on the data migration process to ensure all stakeholders understand their roles, reducing the risk of errors and the data loss. So friends, providing the clear instruction and guidance like giving everyone a map to ensure that everyone involved understand their roles and responsibilities during a risk of error and data loss, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the impact of data migration on business operations. That is, first is the operational readiness. Friends, assess if the organization is ready to smoothly transition to a new system without causing significant disruption to daily operations and the customer services, right? It is like making sure everyone is prepared for changes in the daily routine, right? So assessing operational readiness ensure a smooth transition without causing major disruption, right? Next is about the data accessibility. Friends, in the under data accessibility, we can say that is to ensure the uninterrupted access to critical data and system during the migration process to minimize the impact on the business operations, right? Similar to ensuring your computer and the files are always accessible, maintaining uninterrupted access to the critical data during migration minimizes disruption to the daily business operations, right? Moving next we'll understand about the data security and compliance. That is, first about the data protection measures. Friends, implementing a strong measures to protect the data during migration ensures sensitive information is secure and compliant with the data privacy regulation, right? Just like putting your valuables in a secure box during a move. So friends, implementing data protection measures ensures that sensitive information remains safe and meet legal privacy requirement, right? Next, data mitigation strategies. Friends, to develop and implement strategies to mitigating risk, addressing potential security vulnerabilities and ensuring data integrity throughout the migration, right? Just think of it as having a plan to navigate through rough weather during a journey, right? So in this case, the risk mitigation strategies ensure that the potential security issues are identified and resolved and maintaining the integrity of the data, right? Next is about the auditing and monitoring. Friends, in auditing and monitoring, we can say that is to establish a continuous auditing and monitoring process to track data access, changes, and the security incidents during migration, identifying and addressing any anomalies. Right? Similarly, we can say, right, to wrap up this whole data security and compliance, we can say that it is clear that the data migration comes with the risk to data integrity and availability, right? So however, with careful assessment and preparation, these risks can be effectively mitigated following the guidelines and the best practices outlined in this previous slides. What we have covered is provides a roadmap, right, for organizations to ensure a smooth and secure transition during a data migration process, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the recovery plan. That is, first is the backup and the restore process. Friends, to develop and implement procedures to backup and restore data to its a pre-conversion state, right? Friends, it is like having a safety net. If something unexpected happens after the move, these procedures ensure you can revert to the way things were before, right? Next is about the continuous monitoring. Friend, to set up a process or a continuous monitoring to track and identify any issues with the data integrity or anomalies after migration, right? Similar to keeping an eye on your belongings in a new place. So continuous monitoring helps to detect any unusual activities with the data, ensuring its ongoing integrity, right? And next is about the testing and validation. In this, we can say that the regular test and validate data integrity and availability post migration to confirm consistency and accessibility. So this is, think of it as a regular checkup, right? So testing ensures that your data remain healthy and accessible, providing peace of mind that everything is in order, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the preparation of data migration. Next is about the stakeholder engagement, right? In this, engage everyone involved in the planning and preparation of data migration to ensure a smooth and coordinated transition. It means like making sure at everyone on the board or a group of project, right? Engaging stakeholders ensure that everyone understands their role, making the migration process more organized and efficient, right? Similarly, next is about the risk assessment. In this, to conduct a thorough risk assessment to identify potential challenges and develop effective strategies to mitigate the risk before starting the migration process, right? Just take an example, like think of it as scouting the road before a road trip, right? So the risk assessment would help to anticipate the potential issues, allowing you to plan for a smoother journey during data migration. Understood? Let's move ahead and we'll discuss about the best practices implementation, right? Ensuring a successful data migration. The first is about the training and education, right? In this, we can say that the providing training and education to staff members on the best practices and the guidelines for data migration to ensure successful and secure transition, right? It's just like giving everyone a map and instruction for a journey. So training ensures that everyone knows how to navigate the data migration process, right? So contributing to a smooth and a secure transition, right? Next is about the continuous improvement. Under the continuous improvement, we can say that to set up a process for continuous improvement and optimization of data migration practices based on the feedback and evolving industry standards, right? Think of it as upgrading your navigation system based on your user feedback, right? So continuous improvement ensures that the data migration practices stay up to date and efficient, right? Next, post migration evaluation. Friends, to conduct a thorough evaluation of a data migration process post implementation to identify any areas of improvement or optimization, right? It is similar to reviewing your journey after reaching your destination. So post migration evaluation help to identify whether what went well and areas that can be improved for future migration, right? Next, we'll discuss about the effective fallback strategies in the change management. Friends, under the effective, first is the understanding the fallback. Friends, fallback is also known as a rollback, right? It is like safety net in the change management. It ensures that if a planned change does not work as expected, the system can be reverted to its previous state, right? This is crucial for minimizing the risk associated with the change implementation, right? Think of it as a well-rehearsed plan to undergo a change carefully planned and tested, just like practicing a fire drill, right? So in a fire drill, organizations carefully plan and test the procedures, right, to smoothly go back to how things were before the change. It is an essential part of ensuring a safe and controlled change processes, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the developing a fallback plan. First is about the procedure for revision. Friends, developing procedures for going back to the pre-change state with the same care as planning the change itself, right? So these procedures outline the step to take if the change does not go as expected. So they should be well documented and approved by the project team, right? Just take an example, like think of it as a creating a step-by-step guide to undo a change, like having a clear instruction on how to reset a gadget to its original setting. So these procedures are crucial for a smooth and controlled fallback, right? Similarly, next is about the rigorous training. Friend, under the rigorous training, we can say that the before attempting a changeover, conduct rigorous testing of a fallback plan, right? Simulate various scenarios to ensure that a reversion procedures work as intended, right? So identify any potential issues that may arise during the fallback processes. It is like doing a rehearsal before a big performance. So rigorous testing ensures that the fallback plan is reliable, helping to catch and fix any issues before they become real problems during the actual change, right? So just think of it as a practice run before a big event. So testing a fallback plan ensures that it works well and any potential issues are addressed in advance, right? Now moving next, we'll discuss about the friends fallback implementation, right? Friends, under the fallback implementation, the first point is about the clear communication. Friends, ensuring the clear communication about the fallback plan to all stakeholders, right? That everyone should know their roles in case the fallback need to be executed, right? Just like think of it as everyone having a map and knowing the emergency exit in a building. Friends, clear communication ensures that everyone is on the same page, right? Ready to act if needed, right? Similarly, the next point is about the monitoring and review. Friends, keeping a close eye on the system during the changeover, right? Like such that if any issue arises, initiate the fallback plan. After the changeover, review the fallback process to identify areas for improvement, right? It's just like having a watchful guardian during a journey, right? So monitoring ensures early detection of problems and reviewing afterward help, right? Refine the fallback plan for future changes. Understood? So in simpler terms, we can say that when implementing a fallback plan, in clear communication, that imagine everyone having a clear plan, like knowing where to go in case of a fire, right? So clear communication ensures everyone is ready for any fallback action. Similarly, in monitoring and review, we can say that similar to the guardian watching over you, monitoring ensures quick action if problem arises, right? Just as reviewing afterward is like learning from the journey, refining the fallback plan for future changes, right? Moving next we'll discuss about the benefits of fallback, right? The benefits of fallback, the first is the minimizing downtime. Friends, fallback minimizes downtime, like if a change does not work as expected, quickly going back to the previous state reduces the impact on the business operations, right? Ensuring continuity in the critical processes, right? Think of it as having a spare tire when your main goes one flat, right? So fallback is the quick solution to get things back on track without a long interruption. Understood? Similarly, the next benefit is of risk mitigation. Friends, as we all know that a fallback serve as a risk mitigation strategy. But how? Friends, it acts as a safety net in case a change lead to unexpected problems. Right? A well-defined fallback plan help to minimize potential negative consequences. Right? It's like having insurance for your journey. Right? Friends, fallback is the safety measure that ensures that you have prepared for unforeseen issues, reducing the overall risk of changes. In simpler terms, we can say that the benefit of having a fallback plan are like having a backup strategy for unexpected situations during a journey. Right? It helps to keep the business running smoothly even when faced with the unforeseen challenges. Right? Moving further ahead, let's discuss about some case studies, that is effective fallback in action. Right, consider organization X. Friends, organization X implemented a new software system, and during the changeover, significant issues were encountered. Thanks to a well-planned fallback strategy, they were able to revert to the previous system and minimize the impact on their daily operation. Friends, in this, we can say that the organization X, right, has introduced a new software system but faced a significant issues during the changeover. So what the lesson we have learned? We have learned that the experience of organization X underscored the importance of having a fallback plan, right? So thorough testing and clear communication played a crucial role in ensuring a smooth fallback operation, right? So in simpler terms, organization X faced challenge during the software system change, but their effective fallback plan helped them quickly switch back to the old system, right? Ensuring a minimal disruption. So friends, the lesson learned emphasized the importance of thorough testing and clear communication in making fallback strategies successful, right? Next we'll discuss about the best practices of fallback, right? The best practices is the first is the regular updates. Friends, regularly updating the fallback plan to keep it effective, right? As system and processes changes, review and adjust the plan to match the current environment, right? Let's understand it. Think of it as updating your emergency kit with fresh supplies. Friends, regular updates ensure the fallback plan is always ready and aligned with the latest condition, right? Similarly, training and awareness. Friends, providing training to the project team on fallback procedures and raise awareness about its importance ensures everyone understand their roles and responsibilities if fallback need to be implemented, right? It's like conducting a fire drill, right? So everyone knows what to do in case of an emergency, right? So training and awareness ensures a coordinated and an effective response during fallback, right? Next is about the documenting lessons. Friends, document lessons learned from the fallback instance to improve the plan, right, for future changes. gain insight into the areas that may need refinement, right? Enhancing the overall effectiveness of the fallback strategy. In simpler terms, we can say that in the regular updates, like keeping your emergency kit up to date, right? Regularly update the fallback plan to ensure it's always effective, right? Moving next. Next, we'll discuss some challenges in the fallback implementation. Friends, the first challenge is one main challenge is the potential for data loss or corruption during a rollback process. Then what is the mitigation? Friends, thorough data backup and recovery right procedures are crucial, right? To reduce the risk associated with the data loss. It is like having a safety net, right? To catch any valuable information that might slip during the fallback, right? And second is about the coordination in the large organization. Friends, the challenge is that coordinating effort during fallback can be challenging, especially in the larger organization, right? Similarly, for the mitigation, the process is that in that the clear communication and the well-defined rules are essential, right? Think of it as having a synchronized dance routine. Everyone need to know their steps or fallback to be smooth, right? So in simpler terms, we can say that the challenges in the fallback are like navigating obstacles during a journey. Thorough data backup is the safety net for potential data issues, and clear communication ensures everyone is on the same page, making the fallback process more manageable. Right? Moving next. Next is about the testing the fallback plan. First is the testing scenario. Friends, there are two things in this, right? The action what we are taking, like action that are conducting a comprehensive testing of fallback by simulating various scenarios, right? Ensure the procedure for revision work as intended, testing different failure scenarios, right? Similarly, think of it as a practicing different routes on a map, right? So testing scenario ensures the fallback plan can handle various situations effectively, right? Next is about the incorporating feedback. Friends, gathering feedback from the testing phase and address any issues or shortcomings which refine the fallback plan based on the feedback to enhance its effectiveness, right? Just take an example that is like refining a recipe book on taste uh, tests, right? So feedback help to improve the fallback plan, making it more reliable for actual use, right? Next, training and drills. Friends, conducting training sessions and drill to familiarize the project team with the fallback procedures, right? Ensure everyone is prepared to execute the fallback plan effectively if needed, right? Similar to practicing a fire drill, training and a drill ensures everyone know what to do in the case of fallback. It ensures a coordinated and efficient response, right? Next, the role of leadership in the fallback. First point is about the supporting the plan. Friends, in supporting the plan, leadership role is crucial for fallback success. Leaders need to endorse and support the implementation of fallback strategies, emphasizing its importance in reducing the risk during changes. Just take an example like think of a leader as a cheerleader. So their support boosts the team confidence and ensure everyone understands the significance of the fallback plan. Right? Similarly, about the crisis management. Friends, in the time of crisis, effective leadership guide the execution of the fallback plan. Leaders maintain calm and provide direction during the implementation of fallback procedures. Just take an example like leaders like captain during a storm. Their guidance ensure a steady course and help the team to navigate challenges during fallback. Right? Next, about the continuous improvement. Friends, leadership should advocate for the continuous improvement of the fallback plan. Right? Regular reviewing and updating the plan ensures its relevance and effectiveness in addressing evolving challenges. Right? Imagine leaders as a gardener, right? So they nurture the plan, ensure it adapt to the changing condition and grows stronger over time. So in simpler terms, leadership in fallback is like having strong and supportive guide during a journey. They cheer on you, steer the ship through the storm and ensure a plan keeps growing and improving. Right? Moving next. Next, about the conclusion, that is embracing fallback as a crucial element. First is about the embracing resilience. Friends, fallback is not a sign of a failure, but a demonstration of resilience in a constant change management. Right? Think of fallback as a superhero ability to bounce back from challenges. Embracing its importance ensure organizations are ready to overcome challenges during changes. Right? Next, about the continuous learning. Friends, learning from fallback, right? Instance and refining strategies is crucial for strengthening change management capability. Similar to improving skills through the practice, continuous learning from a fallback experiences enhance an organization's ability to manage change proactively. Right? Third, about the acknowledging complexity. Friends, acknowledge the complexity of change management and see fallback as a necessary component to address it. It is like recognizing the twist and turn in a maze. Acknowledging potential setbacks help organizations to prepare and become more acceptable, adaptable to changes. In simpler terms, we can say that embracing fallback is like recognizing that challenges are part of the journey. Right? It's not about failing, but about learning and becoming more resilient in managing changes effectively. Right? Moving next, friends, this will discuss about the post implementation review best practices. Right? Friends, as the organization aim for successful project outcomes, the insight gained from the thorough post implementation review can be like hidden treasures guiding future projects. Right? So let's look into it. That the key question for the post implementation review, that is the project performance evaluation. Friends, what went well in the project and where could improvement have been made? Right? Think of it as a reviewing a performance. Right? What were the highlights and where could there have been better coordination or execution? Right? Next, about the risk evaluation. Risk evaluation, we can say that did the project effectively manage risk and keep them within acceptable level? The question to ask. Imagine evaluating a safety net. Did it catch potential issues? How well did the strategies work to handle the risk? So in simpler terms, we can say that the post implementation review involves looking back at the project performance, understanding the highlight and areas for improvement, and evaluating how well the project deal with the potential risk. Right? Moving next. Next, we'll discuss about the user requirement and the business objectives. First, that the requirement fulfillment. Friends, the things to consider in this is check if all the stated user requirement and the business objectives were met. Right? It's like ensuring that all the items on a shopping list was successfully picked up. Or did the project deliver what was expected? Right? Next, addressing inadequacies. The thing which required to be considered over here is identify any shortcomings in meeting user needs and business objectives. Plan strategies to fix these challenges for better future projects. Right? Just think of it as a finding a missing pieces in a puzzle, right? How can we improve to ensure a complete picture next time, right? Moving next, about the adherence to the standard. In this, the point to be considered is about review if specified methodologies, standards, and the techniques were constantly followed. Right? Similar to checking if a recipe was followed correctly, did the project stick to the agreed upon demands or were the deviation that affect the final outcome? So in simpler terms, we can say that for user requirement and the business objectives, right? Or post implementation review involve making sure everything on the project shopping list were obtained, addressing any missing pieces, and checking if the agreed upon the methods were consistently followed. Right? Moving next. Next, we'll discuss about the financial and the resource evaluation. Friends, under the financial and the resource evaluation, the post-implementation review also involve a comprehensive examination of project final performance and resource utilization. Right? Assess how the final project cost compared to the initial estimates, in which we have discussed about the cost comparison. Right? In this, we have to consider that to check how the final project cost compared to the initial estimates, right? It's like comparing the expected price of an item to the actual amount paid. Did the project stay within the financial ballpark or not? Next, review if the project targets were accomplished within the defined budget and resource parameter. Friends, to review if the project targets were achieved within the defined budget and resource limit. Right? Think of it as evaluating whether a road trip stayed within the planned fuel and time limit. Did the project reach its destination without going over budget or using excessive resources? So in simpler terms, we can say that for financial and the resource evaluation, post-implementation review involve comparing initial cost estimate with actual expense and ensuring that project goals were achieved within the defined budget and resource constraint. Right? Moving next. Next, we'll discuss about the project outcome assessment. In the project outcome assessment, the first is about the resource utilization. Friends, in this the resource utilization, we have to check if the project achieved its goal within the planned resources or not. It is like making sure a recipe turned out well without needing more ingredients than planned. Or did the project stay within its resource limit or not? Right? We have to evaluate it, right? Next is about the productivity and efficiency. Friends, in the productivity and efficiency, we have to look at how productive and efficient the project outcome were. Right? Imagine assessing how smoothly a car engine runs. Were there any hiccups? Or how can we make it run even better next time? Right? Next is about the unanticipated value. Under the unanticipated value, we have to look at how the project, right, brought unexpected benefit to the organization. Right? Thinking of it as a discovered a hidden treasure during a journey. That is, what expected value did the project deliver and how can we leverage it further? Right? Next is about the long-term impact. Friends, in the long-term impact, we have to evaluate the lasting effect of the project outcome on the organization. Right? Similar to checking if the building stands the test of time, or are the project results sustainable, or do they keep benefiting the organization in the long run? So in simpler terms, we can say that the post implementation review, right, involve making sure that the project stayed within its planned resources, assessing how effectively it ran, exploring unexpected benefits, and evaluating the long term impact of the project outcome on the organization. Right? Moving next, let's see about some additional considerations. Friends, apart from the primary review, it is also crucial to consider any additional factors that may have influenced project outcomes. Right? These may include the external market condition, unforeseen events, or regulatory changes that impact the project success. Friends, taking into account the external market condition, that is unforeseen event or regulatory changes that influence the project outcome, right? It is like acknowledging unexpected weather condition during a picnic. What external factors played a role and how did they affect the project, right? In simpler terms, in addition to the primary review, post implementation assessment involve recognizing any external factor, unexpected event, or even changes in the regulation that might have influenced the project success. Right? Moving next. Next, we'll discuss about the secondary review and insight. Under the secondary review and insight, the first point is about the evaluating the production changes. Friends, after completing the project, take another look to see how well the implemented changes are working in the long term. Right? Just take an example, like similar to checking if a new recipe is still a tasty month later. Are the changes still effective and contribute to the overall success or not? Right? Second, under the revealing unanticipated value that we have already discussed, that the bringing attention to the unexpected benefit and drawbacks from the changes. Right? Think of it as a finding hidden gem or a challenges in the long-term project. That what unforeseen value did the changes bring and what challenges emerged over time. Right? Next, about the feedback and the continuous improvement. Friends, use stakeholder feedback and insight into the second review to make ongoing improvement. Just like refining a tool based on user feedback, how can we enhance the future project by learning from the experience? Right? And at last is about the driving organizational value, which states like consider how insight from the review can contribute to the organization long-term goal. Right? Just like similar to using lesson learned to shape the future. That is how can we use these insight to enhance the organization overall performance and strategy. In simple terms, a secondary review involves checking how well the changes are working in a long term, discovering unexpected benefits or challenges, using feedback for continuous improvement, and exploring how insight can contribute to the organization's long term goal. Friends, here we come to the end of part 5, domain 3, presented by ISACA Preparation Academy. Thanks for watching. If anything concerns you, please do comment and stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.